Recently, I traveled 8 hours away from my home to get certified in punch needle. During my in-person certification classes, my instructor gifted me a rug hook. I have never used one of these before, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna try rug hooking for the first time. So, rug hooking, sometimes referred to as traditional rug hooking, is a way to make rugs by hand. Normally, rug hookers use wool fabric strips instead of yarn, so I'm cutting some up from some scrap wool fabric that I have right now. There are actually special strip cutters that you can buy online to cut your wool strips into even widths. But I don't have one of those, so we're just cutting them with scissors. You are not gonna believe this. They retail for something like $700. 700! Oh my god, man, I'm just gonna hold out and score a used one if I can, because while we do use strips in punch needle, yarn is generally used more, so it's not something that's justifiable for me. You know, I get asked pretty often about my thoughts on rug hooking, and that's a pretty valid thing to ask. I have a lot of opinions on other rug making techniques like machine tufting, but I kind of just gloss over rug hooking. Here's what I gotta say. Rug hooking and punch needle are basically sister crafts. It's a difference between push and pull. With punch needle, you push down with your needle to make loops, and with rug hooking, you use your hook to pull up loops. Visually, it looks pretty much the same, and the two crafts share a lot of the same supplies. That being said, I don't want to commit myself to a huge rug hooking project because I literally have a million projects on the go right now. So I'm making a really tiny square to test things out. And I'm drawing a heart in the middle, so I'm not just hooking in straight lines. I get to practice doing curves as well. And with that, let's get started. So I'm using this muted rainbow wool for the background. I originally got these strips pre-cut for punch needling, but haven't used much of them so far. So this is a great way for me to use them up. I am going into this pretty much clueless. I looked up one diagram on Pinterest that showed me how to hold the fabric strip and my hook and how to pull up the loops, and that's basically it. What I'll do is I'll follow the punch needle rules I know and hope that they work for rug hooking as well. And the first of these rules is to not start on the corner of your pattern. I mean, you can, but the ends will pop out and it looks messier. So we're gonna start here and pull up some loops. So basically, how this works is that I'm putting my hook into the monk's cloth, grabbing my wool strip, twisting it under my hook, and then pulling up a loop. I'm pulling up these outside loops at every other hole, kind of like how we do the borders for punch needle. And I kind of understand now why many rug hookers prefer to use primitive linen over monk's cloth, because the holes in monk's cloth are just tighter, so it's super difficult to pull up the fabric strips with a hook. But then again, my hook is probably way too small for the wool strip size I'm using. The first thing that I'm noticing is how tedious this is. Probably because it's my first time, but I feel like I could punch this way quicker than using a rug hook. I will say it is cool working from the front instead of the back. It's like you're watching your project appear from the ground up, so that's really cool. This wool fabric is pretty finicky though. It frays super easily, which from what I've learned is a big no-no. I'm wondering if it might be a little bit easier with a wool fabric that frays less. I think our fabric for the heart doesn't fray, so we'll see. Okay, so I'm done the border, and well, my loops aren't all the same height. They don't look bad though, especially since it's my first time doing this. I do want to see how hooking with different wool strips is like, so I'm gonna do the heart before filling in the background. I'm gonna try making these loops a little bit taller so that they stand out, and that's one thing that I really like about rug hooking. I get a lot of control over my loop height. Are my loops cooperating? Maybe not, but I can very safely assume that if I was better at this, they totally would. You know what? I really like cooking with this wool. I think the extent to which your wool strips fray is pretty critical to your rug hooking experience, because this blue wool that I'm using for the heart isn't fraying, and it's just way easier for me to grab, whereas the rainbow wool frays a bunch and I keep having trouble pulling loops up. I keep going back and forth between filling in the heart and background because I just want to confirm that there is a difference and it's not just my mind. Rug hooking also feels a little bit hard on the hands. Folks with limited hand mobility, I think, would struggle with something like this in comparison to punching. I also feel like I have a blurrier idea of spacing with rug hooking, but maybe that's because of a lack of experience. I'm not really used to working from the front like this, so I have absolutely no idea if my stitch size and spacing is good. You know what? Let's just keep it a secret until I'm finished, and then we can take a look at the end. Okay, so we're done. Wait, no we're not. I see some visible monk's cloth. See, this is what I mean about spacing. I have no idea where I am with this. So let me just fill that in, and now we're done. Yay! It looks pretty cute and visually identical to Punch Needle. But let's take a look at the back and... Yeah, okay. Yeah, my stitch size and spacing was super off. I can see that there are bumps and holidays, which for those of you that don't know, holidays are just blank spots of monk's cloth that are unhooked or unpunched. So yeah, that's not good. I can see the advantages of rug hooking in terms of loop height control, but I think I still like Punch Needle better. Sorry, rug hookers. I'd be down to practice some more and challenge myself with something bigger, and who knows, it might end up being something that I like. Comment below if you're interested in seeing that. And while I still have you here, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking on the bell. Doing this helps me a bunch to keep making videos like this one. Thanks so much for all of your support so far, and until next time.